The winner of the 2024 Crabbo Breaking Barriers in Canada Award goes to The Diary of a Niger Immigrant.
Hey darling, are you in for this ride with me? Let's jump in.
Hello everybody and welcome to yet another episode of The Diary of a Niger Immigrant. I'm excited for today's episode. This is an episode that has been in the works and we're finally here. Thank you guys for all your views, all your subscriptions, all your listening on different platforms. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for just always coming back and keeping us in business. You make this all worth it. For those of you who haven't subscribed, what are you waiting for?
Let them know.
Come on, subscribe, like, comment. Just let us know where you're watching from or where you're listening from, and that would be awesome. It just makes it all worth it and just helps us keep going because we love what we do, but we also want to be sure that you love what we do. So, well, this is yet another episode and I'm excited to bring you an amazing guest. This is one of the most popular people in Calgary,
Wow.
in the African community. And he has a business that you might have patronized before or not. He's everywhere. Sometimes I see him and I'm like, you're here again. What are you doing here? Like every event you go for, he's there. Every celebrity who comes to Calgary, he's the one who is like on their matter. So, and we're like, okay, let's hear it. Let's have it. Let's have it. And he's here with us today. We're excited to bring you the most sought after barber in the city of Calgary.
Wow.
Every celebrity who comes into the city for a show or anything, he's the one who cuts their hair. He's the one who makes them do videos and be like, I'm with Eddie Hair Planet. So we brought Eddie here to you so you can hear his story and how he came to Calgary. Because like I said, Eddie met me in this city, literally, and now he's like...
We're actually neighbors.
We were neighbors, exactly. We were literally neighbors. And I remember we'll just cross over to the other block, cut our hair, and then I was also on low cut.
Yeah.
He used to cut my hair as well. So anyways, ladies and gentlemen, and everybody, I bring and present to you the #1 celebrity hair barber in the city of Calgary, Eddie.
Wow. Guys, you need to clap for me. This introduction is amazing.
I know. That's what I do.
Yeah.
I've said it before that I have to add on my bio, I have to add #1 hype woman in Calgary.
Calgary
and beyond.
Lady,
Yes.
Or Canada #1.
If I hype you, you will give me all your money. Like you have to.
Man, that's amazing. That's amazing. Seriously, I'm glad to be here. And I appreciate what you're doing and how far God has brought you. Yeah, my names are Eddie Upaka. I happen to be the CEO of Eddie Hair Planet. I'm a barber too. I have a PhD in international criminal law.
I was waiting for that part. He is a lawyer. So when Eddie's cutting your hair, put some respect on his name. Because he could take it to court. And he has a PhD too. So he's a barber by choice.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
So tell us, we want to pull back a little bit. Let's step back a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Since you already mentioned that you're a lawyer or you have a PhD in law, tell us about that. Let me reverse.
Okay.
First of all, because this is a diary of a Niger immigrant, tell us what brought you to Calgary specifically and Canada.
Okay. It's really been a journey. You know, I used to live in Ukraine. I've lived in Ukraine for over 14 years.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's where my formative years started. You know, I always wanted to study law. You know, but back then in Nigeria, I got admission to University of Abuja, but I couldn't get law. I ended up studying political science.
Okay.
So at a point, I left Nigeria.
You actually look like people in political science department.
Very, very, very notorious political science
Oh my
department.
gosh.
Yeah. So it built me up, but at a point I left in Abuja, I left Nigeria to Ukraine because I really wanted to study law. So I went to Ukraine to study law, and that was where my journey started. But how I came to Canada, due to the war in Ukraine, when the war broke out in 2022, we lost everything we built in Ukraine, everything I ever worked for years in Ukraine. I lost it due to the war, and then had to leave the country and then sojourn, looking for a new place of habitat. And then I tried looking for I went to so many countries actually looking for.
Really?
Yeah, actually it was a crazy journey. Because after I left Ukraine, I first went to Hungary. I stayed in Hungary for some weeks, and I realized that no, this is not a place for me. And from there, I moved from Hungary to Slovakia, from Slovakia to to Czech Republic, from Czech Republic
Wow.
to Germany.
The whole of Europe.
Yeah,
You explored Europe. a
And
lot.
then when I was in Germany, I said, no, this is not it. And then I went through Belgium. From Belgium,
Those are good places. What happened?
my major challenges was language. I didn't want to learn language anymore.
Again.
After Russian language and Ukrainian language, I speak Russian, I speak Ukrainian.
Wow.
So I don't want to learn any other language again. So because I understand that anywhere I'm going to go, when there's a language barrier, it's going to take me some time to integrate fully and do something meaningful for myself.
Right.
So all the countries in Europe has language problem.
Right.
That language barrier. So I felt, no, I don't want to be here. So that was one of the reasons why I went to Ireland. So I crossed to Ireland, and I stayed in Ireland for like 6 months. In Ireland, I tried to see what can I do here. You know, amazing country, you know, but one of the major challenges I had in Ireland was accommodation problem, because everybody wants to live in Dublin. You understand? I started a business in Dublin, actually.
You started your business
I started
within the...
Yeah, within the space of 6 months, I was able to start a business in Dublin.
Okay.
I still remember in Panel Street, I opened my first salon there in Dublin.
Wow.
Yeah, so when I opened that business in Dublin, I realized that I couldn't get accommodation in Dublin. So I got accommodation 3 hours from Dublin. So, but the government gave me a hotel to stay. So I stayed in a hotel for 6 months and realized that, no, I can't continue this kind of life. So until when I opened the salon, it wasn't up to a month when Canada said we can come to Canada. So when I spoke with my wife, I said, okay, I think we might need to move again.
So he was doing all of this movement with 2 children. And your wife was also pregnant at the time.
At the time, yeah. Because my wife got pregnant in Ireland. And then when I realized that we're living 3 hours from Dublin, and I'm in Dublin working, so I have to be going there, and hope of getting accommodation in Dublin wasn't visible.
Right.
So I felt, it's going to be a crazy one. It's either I would need to leave Dublin, moved to the city and the village that we were there, and nothing to do there. And when I realized that it was going to be a difficult task, so when the option of moving to Canada came, I felt, okay, probably let's move again. Let's try Canada and see what that place will hold for us.
Right.
So that was how we came to Canada.
Interesting. Wow. And when you told your wife it was time to move again after staying in Ireland for 6 months, what was her reaction?
She really didn't want to come to Canada.
Really?
Yeah, because she was like, it's far from home. You know, Highland was still a bit closer.
Yeah.
Being
Europe,
Europe
yeah.
and so Canada. So I had to do a little bit of convincing for us to move to Canada. And luckily for us, we were able to get help from some amazing Canadians that sponsored us, making the movement easy for us to relocate to Canada. And so that was how I came to Alberta, Calgary, you know, because I never knew about Calgary before. I never knew about
Really?
I never, until when we spoke to that family, they said, okay, we can host you guys, you know, and then they facilitated everything. No, that was an amazing family. The husband and wife, you know, they are elderly people, you know. Because at that time the man was already 60 years, so, you know, and the 2 kids already grown, so they really needed somebody around them. So they thought, okay, they could host me and my family. So that was how they lived in Canmore. So arriving in Canada, we arrived Calgary airport, but they now picked us and then we moved to Canmore.
Wow, they came all the way from Canmore to pick you up.
Yeah. So
That's
we started
awesome.
live with them.
Yeah.
So we live in Canmore for I think a month or 2. But I realized that I think Canmore is not for me.
Yeah, it's really quiet.
It's actually a very quiet place and more of tourists and stuff.
Exactly.
So, and the cost of living there
It's quite high.
quite high.
Yeah.
I know coming from world, I've lost virtually everything, you know, and I actually didn't come with money because I think I still remember that the money I brought to Canada was just, I think, 400 and something euros was what came with me to Canada.
Wow.
So I didn't come with money. So practically it was that family that fed us, that provided accommodation and everything for us. You know, so it was quite a difficult period for us. So, and then my wife was pregnant too.
Yeah.
With 2 kids. So it wasn't really an easy journey, an easy task. And then when we realized that Canmore wasn't the place for me, and because no black people there, nothing is happening there, and the cost of living is expensive, to be able to rent, because I can't live with them forever.
Yeah.
So I have to move on, you know. So them to realize that it won't be easier for us to live in Canmore. So they told us, okay, do you know what? They have 2 options for us where we can move to. Calgary and Cochrane. Because they had a house. They had a house in Cochrane and in Calgary. So they wanted us, okay, any choice that we make, we can move there.
Yeah.
You know, for the main time for us to be able to settle.
Yeah.
So me, when they gave us the option, I started making research about which of the city. So they said, okay, do you know what? We will take you guys to these 2 places. Then when we come back, we make a choice.
Right.
Yeah, so we first went to Cochrane. And then I saw Cochrane, nice, beautiful place, you know. Then when we drove into Calgary, I realized that this is where I want to be.
Calgary has that effect.
Yeah, so when I entered Calgary, I realized that this is
the home. Yes.
The home. So I didn't just want to push immediately to them. So when we got back home, they asked us, okay, where do you guys want to stay? I told them Calgary.
Yeah.
It's okay. So that's how they facilitated us and then supported us to move to their house in Calgary.
Wow.
Yeah, so we stayed with them stayed in their house. It was just a new house. We stayed there. They said, okay, you can stay there as long as you want. And whatever you want, we will provide. They provided furniture and everything, you know. But the man in me.
The Niger
the
man.
in me said, no. Okay.
The Niger man in you.
So,
pride and everything.
You know, when we moved in there, the first month, and I told my wife and say, we can't stay here for too long. We were still our welcome, you know. So that was how I started looking for. They told us, no, you don't need to look for a place. Just wait till when you are okay, you can now look for a place. I told them, yes, no problem. But I started looking for a place without telling them. So that was when we got some referrals. And then coming to Calgary, you didn't know anybody. We didn't know anybody. So I think the first place I went to trying to look for people, I asked about, they said there's a Walmart. So I went to Walmart, not far from that area. So I just went there just to look if I would see people around.
Wow.
If I would see any black person.
Oh my God.
So,
yeah.
And then while I was making that plan I went to Walmart, I met one black guy, but I think he was, I don't know, I met him, he was coming out from the shop, and he didn't really give me the attention I wanted. So
yeah.
I went back home. Then we needed to do internet in the house. So I think it was Shaw. Shaw sent one of their agents to come and fix internet for us, and behold, he was a Nigerian.
Look at God.
I still remember.
Wow.
So
that's awesome.
That man that came did a whole lot for me because meeting him, and he was so nice, man. So nice guy. And and Baba Shola, I remember his name, Baba Shola, yeah. So he really took time when he saw me, and they now told me so much things about Calgary and how to navigate and try to, and then from there I could link up with one or two people. Then later, when we moved out of my host house, we got a place, and luckily it was another Nigerian again that gave us, that sacrificed the house she was supposed to live and gave it to us to live. Yeah.
Wow.
So she was an amazing tool that God used to help us, you know, stable. From her, she now introduced us. That was how we came to Bridalwood.
Right.
Yeah, because Francis is her name. So she was supposed to live in that house.
Yeah.
So with her family, but because when she saw our situation, she now gave that house to us to live. So that was how we came to Bridalwood.
Oh, Francis.
Yeah.
God bless you.
Yeah.
I love it when I hear other Nigerians or other Africans
oh my God.
trying to help everybody. Because like trying to help other people. We rise by lifting others,
You're
right?
You're
and
right.
we were once there. No matter how many, even if it's 20 or 50 years ago you came here, you were once there and you wish somebody helped you.
Yeah, you're right, because the truth is the people you meet when you arrive a particular place matters.
Exactly.
It goes a long way in your settling.
Absolutely.
Trust me. That lady Francis did a whole lot for us. Yeah, she was practically on my matter. Like, Eddie, no, I'm going to introduce you. She was the one that started adding me in some group, and I thought, okay, I know how to cut hair, or maybe I'm trying to look for a job. Because when I came to Canada, truly, I didn't want to cut hair again.
So wait, let's back up from there. When you were in Ukraine, what were you doing? Were you cutting hair or were you practicing law? Because you studied law in Ukraine. You left Nigeria because you couldn't study law. You went to Ukraine to do law. So what happened with the whole law thing in Ukraine, and then how does it connect with the barbing?
Okay, my journey in Ukraine is a very long one, but I will try to summarize it because when I reached Ukraine, I couldn't start school.
Okay.
Things went wrong because I my sister was the one that sponsored me to study in Ukraine. But when I reached there, unfortunately for me, she lost her job. She was working with Oceanic Bank. So she happened to be the breadwinner of the family. It was hard for her to continue sport. So when she called me and told me, Eddie, you're on your own, I knew that was the beginning of my suffering in Ukraine.
You had to hustle.
Yeah. So at that point, my visa was remaining few months to expire. I needed to register in school. And she was supposed to send me my fees for me to pay, but it didn't happen. So that was how I couldn't study. It became worse. That at a point, I became illegal in Ukraine.
Wow.
So it took a while for me. I couldn't go to school. I couldn't do anything. I was just in the hostel. I didn't know how to cut hair. It was life that pushed me into discovering that I could cut hair. Because a whole lot of things I was thinking, back then I remember that when people see me, two things will happen. Is that people laugh at me or people advise me, they think you need to go back to Nigeria because my situation was worse. I tried doing so many things. Then I remember that even my friend I was living with in the same room, my roommates, because they gave me a room, I squatted with them, and those guys took me personal, they were medical students, I was staying with them. So they could encourage me, what can you do? What can you do? One of them took it so personal, maybe you need to do Forex. Then Forex was in vogue then. I tried doing Forex, it didn't work, and then this one, that one. So I came to Ukraine with a clipper that I bought when I was in school back at Abuja.
Okay.
Because things wasn't too rosy then, so I bought a clipper to always shave myself. That was in 2008. So I moved to Ukraine, I think in 2010 or so. And then I went with that clipper. So when people were going to school, so most times I would just stand in the corridor and shave, just to help myself, and shave myself. And then I would just stay in the hostel till they go to school, they would come back, meet me and stuff. So one day, from the people would say, okay, maybe can you line here for me? Can you carve here? Can you barb? And I said, I don't know how to cut hair. So one day, my roommates told me, did you know you can cut people's hair? I said, I don't know how to cut hair. The guy said, do you know what? The guy went on his laptop, printed something on the paper, designed something, printed it from his printer, and then told me, follow me. I followed him. If you want to cut your hair, call this number, put my number.
Really?
Yes.
Just like that?
Just like that.
Do you know, I don't know. I was even thinking maybe the guy opened his laptop and put YouTube for you to learn.
No, he just told me, Eddie, because things were worse.
Yeah.
I lived with them for 7 months. They fed me without a dime.
Oh,
These two Nigerians. People. I'm telling you. So they took me in. I stayed with them. They provided everything. The only thing I did for them, because they were body children, so they didn't know how to cook. So me, coming from where I came from, I know how to cook. So they got the food stuff. I'll be the one to cook for them.
Right.
So when I cook, I'll eat with them. So I think that was the value I brought to the table. But they really helped me. Those guys helped me for more than 7 months. They were not my parents. You understand? But they could sustain me. But you see, as a man, as human, you still have some financial needs.
Right.
So back then, things were worse that I didn't even have a dime to even buy anything. So I remember then, in Ukraine, we make use of the coins. Anything you buy, they must use the coins too. So but we, our Nigerians, Africa, we don't really value coins. So we always throw these coins away. So I used to walk around the whole school campus everywhere, looking on the ground, searching for coins to pick.
Wow.
That was my life. And not that the coins are just somewhere that you just go to pick. That means that everywhere I'm just looking on the ground, searching for me to find coins to pick, for the coins to even get up to maybe, for instance, maybe $1 that I can even buy a cake to eat. Maybe when my guys are in school and wait for them. That was my life. So I could pick coins everywhere. Everywhere I see, I will just pick it and keep it. When it gets to like maybe probably one that was because I remember the least thing you could buy was a cake for 2 hryvnias then. That was Ukrainian currency, hryvnias. So it means I have to pack so much coins to be able to afford a cake.
And you know how small coins are.
Yeah, you know
for
that
you
kind
to
of thing.
Find
For you to
coins
find
everywhere.
coins, that was my life for more than for a period of time in Ukraine. So those guys, I really helped me, you know. So I will cook for them, we will eat together and stuff till at a point that I remember that the immigration had to start disturbing and that I need to, you know, leave the hostel and stuff, you know. So before then, this guy told me, Eddie, you think you can cut hair? I said, I don't know how to cut hair. So he went on his laptop, designed something, printed it out from his printer, tell me, follow me. I went with him. We went to all the blocks of the hostel and the school and pasted there, you want to cut hair, call this number. Then he went to school, told his classmates that there's this new barber guy that just came.
Wow.
And then I remember the very first person I cut hair was his classmate called me, Eddie, my friend gave me your number that you cut hair. I said yes. I didn't know how to cut hair.
Oh my goodness, survival.
So from there, it's okay. I just picked my clipper, and that clipper, if you on it, you might be hearing it from that street. So I went to meet with this guy. He now told me there's these 2 new students that just came, they want to cut their hair. So when I saw them, I asked them, one wanted to barb style, the other one wanted to barb low cuts. I said, okay, I think let me start with the low cut guy. So I started barbing the low cut guy. It took me more than an hour to barb that hair. So when the other one saw that, he's like, this guy is an idiot. He doesn't know how to cut hair. So he silently left. So by the time I struggled to barb this one and finish this guy, and I asked him, where is your friend? So when they called the guy said, no, he's not cutting again. For me, that was one of the biggest frustration I had in my life. At that point, I knew that I don't know how to cut hair. So when the guy left, I didn't collect the money, didn't pay me. I just wanted to I left silently. And then I was now, from that moment, I told myself I will never cut hair again. Cutting hair is not for me. So I was going back to my hostel. I was pondering God. I was asking God question. God, what is my talent? I hear people discover their talent. What is my talent? What can I do? I can't phantom on anything I know how to do. So I went back to my hostel that afternoon. I slept off that afternoon. So my guys came back from school. They saw me sleeping. The guy woke me already. What happened to you? Why are you sleeping in the afternoon? So I told him my frustration. The guy told me, don't worry. Why are you bothered? We don't have barbers here, you know. So, see, you can just barb people. He spoke to me. I felt encouraged. Like, okay, you don't need to give up. You need to keep doing it, you know. I know the funny thing, when my friend wants to cut his hair, he will go and meet one guy that... There was this guy that used to cut hair and was very good. He was barbing hair for everybody. So when my friend want to cut his hair, he will go somewhere else. But he's advertising. Oh my God. That was.
You'll be like, this, let me learn with your hair.
No, that my friend was an amazing guy. He's not in the US. He's a medical doctor in the US. Yeah.
That's nice.
So he really encouraged me. So I felt that strength that, okay, you don't need to give up. So I kept doing. You know, whatsoever you keep doing, at a point you get better.
Exactly.
That was what happened. So I kept doing it, you know. And I think that time Facebook started, so we used to if I do it, if it makes sense, I will snap it, put it on Facebook. Nobody saw it, nobody called me, you know. So one particular day, the very first time, after so many months, I've been begging people for me to cut their hair. People partly didn't allow me to cut their hair. So I remember Lugansk was my city. It was a very small city, you know, and Ukraine was full of foreign students. You understand? And then in this city, this medical school was the biggest. Has so many foreign students. So there were these two hostels that were for foreigners. So one of them is the biggest and had much population of foreigners. So anything that hostel accepts, the whole of the city will hear about it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there was this guy that used to cut hair. So he used to cut hair in the hostel there. Everybody would gather, wait for him. He will come and cut everybody's hair. So one of those days, he will come to cut hair. I will just go there to look at what he's doing, or maybe can I talk to him and ask him if he can teach me how to barb. So when I go there, so people will gather. I always ask myself a question: when will people gather like this for me to cut their hair? Will I ever know how to cut hair like this, the way this guy is doing? But anytime I want to ask him, I couldn't. I was so ashamed to ask him to teach me. Every time I would just do this, people gather, I would just move. Then had some guys on the 9th floor who used to go to them. Some of them were allowed me to cut their hair, some were not allowed. So, but I thank God too that I didn't ask that guy to teach me.
Why is that?
Yeah, because you see, after that period, the very first time I cut someone's hair, somebody paid me. That's 20 hryvnias was like, let me say like, probably like maybe $2 then. Was like 20 million. That was the very first money that I would say was my money in Ukraine. So, you know, when you have so much thing to buy,
With $2.
with these $2, I had so much things to buy. You need to buy that bread, you need to buy that cake, you need to buy this, you need to buy that. You know, at the point you say, okay, let me separate my needs from my wants. Okay. Then at a point that evening, one of my friends said, let's go to church. I followed him to the church. When I reached the church, the pastor was preaching and said we should come and sow seed. It was a very tough situation because one of my mind was saying, they go and put this money in the church. The other one said, are you mad? What's wrong with you? What about that cake? What about that? So I kept battling with my mind. Suddenly I stood up, put that $2, that 20 hryvnias, in the offering box and went back to my seat. When I went back to my seat, one man said, come on, why did you put the money? So how will you go home? What about this? What about that? I almost stood up to go and remove back that money. But, you know, I thank God because that $2 I sold in that church gave me $4,000.
What?
Yes. I know you're wondering how. I will explain. That was February 2012. I went to that church, I sowed that seed. Then I kept cutting hair, I kept doing it. Nobody called me, nobody looked for me, nobody, you know. I used to post it even on Facebook then, Facebook Market, nobody. But I think it was in April or May, that 2012, that guy that used to cut people's hair, he was the only person doing it for everybody. So the guy had a problem, ego and pride. You see, sometimes God gives people a gift, but ego or pride does not allow them to fulfill their purpose. Because he was the one doing it for everybody, he knew that everybody will always wait for him. So he will treat you anyhow he likes. He will wait for him. You don't have a choice. You wait for him. So because of that, he will treat clients the way he likes. You will beg him before he can cut your hair and stuff. So that April, that 2012 summer, so he took his Ukrainian girlfriend and we went on vacation off his phone without
Communicating
with people. People started reaching out to him. He didn't pick their calls and stuff. So that was how people started saying on Facebook, who is this Eddie? If I barb one person will bring 10 people. I don't know what I was barbing. But people kept coming. People kept coming. But Barber one will bring 10 people. The numbers keep increasing. So, and then in this same hostel that this guy used to cut hair, I had this friend of mine that was in the same church with me. He lives in that hostel, and he was living on the ground floor. And this hostel, before you climb up, you must pass through his entrance, before you climb on the staircase. So the guy told me the one day, that I can be using my front edge to cut hair.
Wow.
So that's how I started cutting hair there. And people started seeing me
when they're leaving
when
or
they're
coming
leaving or
back.
coming in, So started cutting. So people were just gathering. I kept cutting hair. People were just gathering, So before the guy went to where he went to and came back, already took over.
Taking over.
So one day, I remember one Saturday morning, I was cutting hair there, and then he came as usual, the way he used to. When he came, he saw me, and everybody that gathered there were his clients. So he came, greeted everybody. He didn't greet me, and then went up. He used to cut hair on the 5th floor. So he went there. Nobody left. So because when I saw him, I was afraid. Oh, everybody will leave.
Follow him.
But nobody left. So he went, got maybe one or few loyalists, and then someone that used to barb crowd. And then maybe do it for one or two people, and then he came down. It wasn't long from that time. He came down, greeted everybody, and left. That was the end of that guy's cutting hair in that city.
What?
That was the end. What happened to him? Well, I don't know. But that was how I took over the whole city. Started cutting hair. So between maybe May to September, I was just working, going to places. I wasn't in school. I was cutting hair morning, afternoon, night, everywhere, trying to raise money. That was how I was able to raise money and sort out my immigration issues, and then started school in September.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is wild. At what point did you master the art of cutting hair then?
I can't really say, because, just like I said, anything you keep doing,
you just get better at it.
You just get better at it. So I just kept doing it, and then people were just coming. Sometimes when I go back on Facebook and look at some of the jobs I used to do back
you'll be
then,
like, what?
What?
And they saw it, and they still came.
And then, people kept coming. So that was how I went into barbing, trained myself from bachelor. I started bachelor again in international law. And then I finished in 2016. Immediately 2016, I started my master's in international law and litigation in 2016 and finished in 2018. And then that same 2018, I started my PhD, international law and international law and international criminal law. You understand? So that was my journey, and I finished in 2022.
So it was that business that helped you to pay
my way through
all the way to your PhD.
My PhD.
Wow.
So now I started cutting hair from house to house, my hostels to hostels and stuff, From there, I was cutting one guy. The guy told me, do you know what? I have a friend. She has a salon in the city center, in one of the biggest buildings in the city center. And she was saying she wants to rent a seat in her salon. Maybe I can talk to her if she can rent a space for you. I said, okay, that would be nice. The guy went, spoke to the lady. The lady said, okay. Then I met the lady. She gave me a seat in her salon for me to start cutting hair. So, and this building is like the biggest building in the city, So then I now reach out to everybody that,
this is where.
Yeah, I have a place in the biggest building. They used to call it Hotel Lugans, the big building there. Everybody was shocked. How did you get a place in this building to cut to be cutting hair? That was the journey. And then I went into that place. Everybody was shocked. I did advert, did everything. People started coming there. I walked there the first day, second day, the third day. I was walking there, and then the lady too was a barber too and a stylist.
Okay.
So she had her own clients, you know. It was a big salon. So many things were going on there. So she, one of our clients came one day and saw me cutting hair. The client told her that he wants me to do it for him. The lady said, okay, I can do it. Mumumi, just... So I did the haircut for the guy. The guy liked it, you know. I was so satisfied with it, you know. So when the guy left, the next day, okay, we closed work for that day. The next day when I came, the daddy stopped me at the door. Said, unfortunately, you cannot work here with us again.
Oh.
I said, what happened? She said, oh, that started giving me different stories why I can't work here again with them.
She felt threatened.
Yes. So I now started thinking, God, why did you even brought me here if you know that I'm not going to be here? Why would I start telling the shame? Why would I start telling the clients and everyone I know that I'm already in this building, you know? So I was pondering, I was begging this woman. She refused. Then one of the older lady that was a masseuse came out, told me, Eddie, you know, you're a very hardworking person. I just love what you do. But unfortunately, the owner of the shop would not allow you to work. That recently she heard that on the 15th floor, there is a room, because this was a hotel before, because the hotel wasn't really moving again, so the hotel started renting out the rooms for businesses.
Right, okay.
So she now told me that on the 15th floor, that there is a space that the management wanted to give out for business. Maybe we can go there, talk to them, and probably get the space for me. I wasn't interested. I was bent on this place because this was ground floor. Once you enter the building, you will see it, you know. I didn't know that God brought me into that building for a purpose. So my friend, the guy that introduced me to the lady and the older lady, went to find out from the management, he said the place is available, that I can make use of it. But I wasn't really feeling it. Out of this lady did not agree, you know, for me to continue working there with them, I reluctantly went up on the 15th floor. That was where I started my very first salon.
Your own, with your name on it?
My own salon. It was just an empty place with, I think one of my friends had to go home, brought me a seat that people would sit and started. So I started cutting hair there without nothing, even without a mirror. All the clients that came that day to cut their hair, that was where I started, my first salon. So gradually I was able to just get few monies to just put something, set up the salon and started working there. So I started there, people kept coming. I started training people to work with me, you know. And then suddenly something happened. The businesses, I remember when people started coming, they realized that this was a hotel. There was a Chinese restaurant on the 7th floor that was about closing because there was no business for them there.
Yeah.
But when I came into that building, things started flourishing there.
Wow.
One day, the Chinese restaurant people came to me, Eddie, since you came into this building, things have just started moving for them. Because when people come to cut their hair, when they're waiting, they will go there to go eat food. They told me, Eddie, anything you want to eat, it is free of charge for you, as long as you are in this building. And people started realizing that, oh, this was a hotel. This is a hotel.
Right.
And then the business of them started moving. Everything started moving. Numbers started increasing into the building and everything. And then suddenly, I think I was just in that 15th floor for 5 months. Then one day, the management came to me, told me, Eddie, it looks like this place is too small for you. We have a bigger space on the 17th floor. Maybe it would be good for you to take on the 17th floor. That was how I started a more bigger professional salon on the 17th floor.
Wow.
Yeah, so immediately in 2013, September, that was where I started a bigger salon. In December 2013, the war started. The first war in 2013 started. Not this recent one.
Oh,
There was a war.
I was calculating in my head.
Yeah, there was a war in Ukraine
Yeah.
in 2013. So that was how I lost everything I started there in that city.
Interesting.
Yeah. Moved to Kiev. That was how I moved to the capital city, you know, Kiev, to start life afresh again. Yeah. So it was difficult because Kiev was expensive.
Yeah.
And I couldn't find any other school to study local. I only did 2 years there. So I needed to continue. So I couldn't find any other school that offered international law in English in Ukraine apart from in Kiev.
Right.
So, but in Kiev was in 3 languages. So I studied law in 3 languages, in English, Russian, and Ukrainian.
Wow.
Yes. So that was how I stayed in Kiev. So when I stayed in Kiev, something happened. All my clients from my previous city, none of them came to Kiev because Kiev was expensive. They went to other smaller cities. So when they went there, they told me, Eddie, we can't find a barber like you. That please, 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 we beg you, can you be coming to our city to cut our hair? That was how I had to be going to 6 cities every 2 weeks to cut hair. And every city I go, I build a community. So most of the community, I had more than 200 clients.
When it's not tour, Eddie on Baba tour.
Yeah, I was always on top. I did that for 4 years.
Wow.
I would go to a city. I would travel only at nights because Ukraine had a very good transportation system. They had trains that could run from city to city. So I only travel at night. I would sleep at night. I reach a city in the morning, maybe by 6, 7 a.m. By 8, I would just set up a place in one of the clients' houses, and then I would take down everybody. Sometimes I would barb like 70 people in one day. I would work from maybe 8 a.m. till maybe 3 a.m. or 2 a.m. maybe, or 5 a.m. And then immediately I would jump on the next train, either to the next city or back to my Kiev. Sometimes I have class in the morning.
Wow. Here.
You understand? So
they carry last.
So I was shuttling.
The hustle.
I was shuttling different cities, cutting people's hair for more than 4 years, and I was still studying.
Wow.
Because
How
I
were
needed
your
to
grades?
pay. Actually, my bachelor, I finished my master's with first class.
Wow.
Yes. And then my bachelor too, I did quite well. So it was amazing.
Wow.
No, my bachelor I finished with first class. But my bachelor I finished with first class, yes. So it was not easy. So at a point, I did that for 4 years. When all the students that left my previous city graduated, at that point I felt I'm done. Let me focus on Kiev. So that was how in Kiev, and I already started building community too in Kiev. I started going to places, jump here and to start cutting hair too. So at a point I felt that, okay, I started my first salon in Kiev too. So Kiev, and then the numbers started building up, building the clientele in Kiev too, became popular too in Kiev. At a point I had to start the second one too. So I had the second salon in Kiev. And then COVID struck in 2020. That was when the big turnaround in Ukraine came for me. Okay, no, before COVID came, something happened. I think Davido came to Ukraine. I think it was in 2018 or 2017 or something. So I cut Davido's hair, and it became a problem.
Really?
Yes.
A problem?
It was a problem because when Davido came, he told me I should cut his hair, and he told me to do a design for him. I should write number 7 on his head. I didn't know what number 7 meant to him. You understand? So I wrote...
What does it even mean to you?
I didn't know what it meant, so I only wrote the number 7. So when he snapped it and posted it, the thing went viral. People started accusing, Davido is a cultist, that at 7, it's Axeman, there's this confraternity cult group in Nigeria that is called Axemen, Aye.
Oh.
So Aye, 7,
Yeah.
Axe
Right.
is their logo, something as their symbol. So 7 Axe look like 7.
Oh.
Yes. So some people too said because I think Ronaldo followed him on Instagram that year, so it was because of Ronaldo.
That's even where my mind went.
Yeah,
CR7.
so it was CR7. So it was a whole lot. So Instablog, I remember Instablog, Ayaba, all the social media bloggers started reaching out, what is happening, Davido is a cultist, blah, 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 blah. And then you will still go online. If you Google Davido number 7 haircut, you will see me. So many of those bloggers, and then suddenly one of the bloggers wrote, that Davido came to Ukraine to be initiated.
And you are the one that initiated.
I'm telling you, it was a crazy thing, But you
funny.
But you see, sometimes every scandal has a way of.
Exactly.
It's a publicity too.
There's never a bad publicity.
There's never a bad. Yes, people started reaching out to me. Oh, I saw you cut Davido's hair. This one, that one. That was how I entered the Nigerian market somehow. And then suddenly, somebody saw me and reached out to me on, I think, Instagram. I saw that you barbed Davido's hair. I say yes. So can you come to Kenya and cut my hair?
All the way to Kenya?
Yes. That is a story for another day. That was how I was shocked, like, you the wine. I didn't believe. He said, I wanted to come to Kenya and cut my hair. I said, how? I thought it was just a scam. The guy said, okay, when can you come? I just randomly gave him a date. He said, okay, which passport are you using? I was still using Nigerian passport then. He said, Nigeria needs visa on arrival. I said, yes. He said, you know what? Okay, send me a copy of your passport. The next thing, the guy got me a ticket, got me a visa on arrival, registration and everything. I thought it was a lie. I didn't believe it. When the date came, I almost didn't go to the airport. Reluctant to say, let me just go to the airport. I reached the airport. Maybe if I reach the airport, they will send me back.
Wow.
Yeah, but when I checked in, everything went through. Everything went through. I was in the flight. I said, I didn't still believe maybe they will come and chase me out of the aircraft. Until when I used Qatar Airline, until when I reached Doha was when I realized that I was going to Kenya. And seriously, I don't know what kind of hair I'm going to barb in Kenya.
What if it's your own head that you're about
I don't know. So when I reached Kenya, I stepped out into the airport. I saw people on the placard with my name at the airport. It was like
airport service to pick you up?
To pick me up. The convoy came to the airport to pick me up. And then
see royalty. You are playing with in this city.
In Kenya, I felt like I'm a musician that is going to perform somewhere.
Celebrity Baba.
I'm telling you. So that was how they took me, they picked me up from the airport, the convoy took me to my hotel room. And then I didn't even know who brought me to Kenya. So the guy reached out, called me, said, welcome to Kenya, when I need you, I will let you know. I think a day or two, he told me anything you want in Kenya will be provided for me. He gave me a tour guide, gave me everything. The tour guide the next day planned my day and then took me to safari, the Big Five, everywhere in Kenya. I provided everything. I stayed in the 5-star
Meanwhile, you have not cut hair.
I've not even cut the hair. I've not even cut the hair yet. I don't even know.
Let me tap into your blessing, Eddie.
So that was how. The next day he came with his friend. His friend was so curious to know, why would you fly a barber all the way from Ukraine to Kenya to cut your hair? Yeah, At the point too, I was skeptical too for
Even
myself.
you're like, why will you fly this to Kenya to cut your hair?
So when the guy came with his friend, we wanted to cut their hair. So I cut both of them. Gave them an haircut. Funny enough, it was just a regular haircut like I did for any other person. So,
You did not draw number 8.
No. So do you know one funny thing? After I finished cutting him and the friend, guess what?
What?
The next person that invited me to Kenya was his friend. After I finished cutting the guy told me, man, no one has cut my hair like this before. I don't know what I did. Because for me, it was just like a regular haircut I give any other person.
Mm-hmm.
So I was supposed to stay in Kenya for 1 week. I ended up staying 40 days in Kenya.
What? Over a month?
Over a month in Kenya. The guy didn't allow me to go. The guy, after close to my flight, he told me, do you know what? Is it possible I can extend your ticket? Don't worry, we'll take care of you. So I said, okay.
Where's that church? Let me go and sow my own seed, though.
So for me, it was like I came to Kenya for a vacation because everything I wanted. He flew me to Mombasa, to everywhere I wanted to go in Kenya, and then every day was a new thing for me in Kenya. You understand? He spent so much money on the hotel I was staying. Anything I wanted was provided. So he had to change my ticket for almost 3 times, you know. It was when my wife said, come on, I don't understand this Kenya that you are going.
Are you sure they're not giving you another wife there?
So that was how I said, no, I had to. That guy spent more than $10,000 at that time for me to come to Kenya and cut his hair and go
Wild.
back. Yeah.
And it's not as if he was getting married or anything.
No, the guy was just
regular.
Yeah, event was please can you? We need to cut hair for this one. So when he now invited me to Kenya, I couldn't go back to Kenya.
Oh,
I didn't allow me to go back to Kenya.
Haba, madam.
So that was the journey how I became a bit popular, and then during COVID. In 2020, in Ukraine, you know, Ukraine is known for football too. So there was this 2 football club, Dynamo Kyiv and Shakhtar Donetsk. So when all the salons, everything was shut down in Ukraine, everybody was at home, nothing was working. I was the only barber in Kyiv that was working. Yeah. So information just went around that there's this barber guy that is cutting everybody's hair. So
does not care about COVID.
Does not care about
COVID out.
So I have to go to their houses. So because one of the footballers was my client, so from him he now told the rest of the teammates. So that was how I broke into barbing footballers. So I started cutting their hair. So when COVID stopped, things started working. So I became their barber. So I started barbing almost all the footballers. You know, I became like almost the official barber for both Shakhtar Donetsk and Dynamo Kyiv. So started doing it for everybody, you know, and then at that point people started knowing about me and they started flying me to different places, different countries, different cities to cut hair.
Wow.
So at a point already, I think as at 2021, I already had 3 salons with more than 40 workers. So I felt in 2022, I'll be finishing my PhD. I'm done with barbing in the salon. So if I'm going to be cutting hair, it's going to be occasionally, you know. And then I started thinking of how to improvise other means of my income generation, you know. So that's why I went into a series of other businesses, you know, that could generate so that when I am not around, because my dream was to practice law. I really wanted to practice law. That was why I went to study all the way. And my dream was for me to work in Hague. Hague is in Netherlands, where you have the International Criminal Court of Justice. I always wanted to be one of the benches, the judges of International Criminal Court of Justice. So I knew that after my PhD, I need to go to Hague, do 2 years internship in Hague, and then so that if I qualify, I can start practicing there.
Right.
That was what I wanted.
You had it all planned out.
And then I already mapped out everything. I already wrote the exams. I already got the acceptance for me to move to Hague, start to continue. Unfortunately, 2022, after my PhD, the war broke out. So when the war broke out, my life shattered.
Oh my goodness.
So everything I built in Ukraine, I bought a house in Ukraine, I did so many things, I had to mention everything, I lost them in one day.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So it was a difficult period for me.
Starting all over again.
And I had to leave Ukraine. It wasn't an easy thing for me to leave Ukraine. And then started that journey again. So that was how I journeyed till I came to Canada. So cutting hair wasn't what I wanted to do again.
Yeah.
It wasn't what was in my mind to do again. So when I reached Canada, I felt, okay, law is good here. So let me look at that pathway. But when I check out here, it was a long thing for me because I came from a civil law background, and here in Alberta is common law.
Right.
So it's a different jurisdiction entirely, completely.
Yeah.
So, and when they told me I need to write like 16 courses, and each of them, it's money, and I came with nothing. So I realized that law is very far away from me for now. And then I now said, maybe I need to look for a job. So I started looking for a job, and coming with a wife, pregnant wife, and 2 kids, it was difficult because my kids were ages that you have to drop them in the morning and pick one by 11 and pick one by 2, or I think by 3 was a crazy period. So practically, I couldn't do anything. I couldn't work, couldn't get a job. At that point, I realized that I have to dust my clippers to start cutting hair again. So it was a difficult thing convincing myself this is what I want to do again. Yeah. So that was how I started looking for where can I start. I've been to a couple of salons trying to work there with them, but they see that it's difficult. You go into a new salon that people don't know you, and the clients don't know you, and most of the barbers are not ready to introduce their own clients to you. So it was difficult. And now at the point, I realized, okay, maybe I should start cutting hair from my house. That was how one day, with the help of Francis linking me up with so many groups, so many people, and then one day in our building, I was in a lift with these 2 Nigerian guys. So I told them, I know how to cut hair. They said, are you serious? I said, yes. I said, are you serious? Can you cut us now? So from the lift, they went into my house.
You're joking.
That was how I started cutting hair.
Just like that?
Just like that. So it was from them, cutting them. They now started telling people everywhere, that there's this guy that just came. He's in Brotherhood, he's cutting hair. So I started cutting hair from the building,
Wow.
And then from there, the information started spreading out that there's this guy in Brotherhood. So I started cutting hair in my house, from my house, And then from that, I heard about the Nigerian event that was going to happen, the Nigerian Gala. So I did a complimentary card because I know that one thing about business, complimentary card has always helped me talk about my business. So I did a complimentary card. So I went to that event. I didn't know anybody. I didn't buy ticket. I only heard about the event that day. So I went there. I realized I need to get a ticket. And tickets were already sold out. And I can't enter. I stood like this. And people are coming and I can't stop people on the way to give them my cards. I was looking for a way to enter the event. There was these 3 Indians bouncers that were standing, to stop people from entering. I stood there for more than 40 minutes. I couldn't enter. Nobody to help me. But suddenly, I don't know how I passed through their midst. I passed in their middle.
Look at God.
And then entered the hall. They didn't see me. I don't know how they didn't. I just passed through and then went into that hall. That was where my breakthrough came. There were so much people in that hall that night. I walked from table to table, giving them my cards. I cut hair. And it was like, in Calgary, there was no Nigerian barber.
Baba, there was none.
There was none.
It was just a Ghanaian guy, and all the way
Yeah,
very
in the
far away.
Northeast.
Yes.
So once I entered, gave people my card. Wow, are you serious? You're a Nigerian? Oh, Nigerians are very supportive. Trust me. So everybody was like, wow, you just came. And then when I told them I can even do home services, they say, whoa, wow. And then if I gave more than 100 people my cards that night, maybe 10 from there got back to me that I started with. So from that 10, the information, the news started spreading everywhere. Oh, there's this barber that can come to your house. And then I started going from house to house, cutting people's hair. And because I didn't know the prices, I just gave random price. How much do you cut hair? I was cutting $20 in my house, and then going to people's house, I was cutting $30. So they were like, this barber that will come to your house for $30. This one is cheaper.
The guy is desperate. Maybe before I go open, let's just...
So, like, people, maybe this guy doesn't know how to cut hair.
Right.
This guy is too cheap. But I just did it because I was looking for opportunity that I just need to cut your hair once. If I cut your hair, you will look for me. You understand?
Yeah.
So it was a sacrificial period for me because I live in the deep south, in Bridalwood. A client will call me in Adri. I would drive all the way from Southwest to Adri to go and cut hair for $30.
45 minutes drive.
And then drive back. I will use the $30 to put gas on my car. That was my life. I was doing it. I felt, okay, let me just cut hair temporary when I'm able to get a job. So I could drive the whole of Calgary. The more I was doing, people kept knowing me. I kept going to people's houses. I was running helter-skelter, meeting people's, Once I pick my kids and drop at home, my journey will start. At a point, I used to drive like 10,000 kilometers in a month.
Wow.
At a point one day, when you're going to change your car oil, they will put on the car the next period date and the kilometers you need to come back. I used to go back every month. At the point, the guys asked me, the mechanic asked me, what do you do? It's like... even people that do Uber don't drive like you, So, but it was a period for me that helped me build the clientele I needed.
That you needed to break through.
The breakthrough came. At a point, I was, when you arrive Canada, one thing that will happen to you, people will advise you on what to do. Okay, maybe you need to do this job. You need to take. They advised
that was
me to,
the main thing then, even till now.
Then we said, take. They say, I think Scrum Master was invoked those years.
Yeah.
They say, you need to do Scrum Master. You need to do Scrum Master. You need to do data. So I started doing Scrum Master. As I was scrumming on the road, they told me, Scrum Master job has finished. So data. I had to pay a tutor to teach me data. I started doing data, thinking that, okay, once I finish, I'll be able to get a job. So after running around every day, coming back, have a class at night was not an easy task. The guy will be teaching me, I'll be sleeping. I couldn't continue. One day I told the guy, see, I can't continue.
It's not sustainable.
The guy begged me, can just try. I said, no. At this point, I told him, no, forget about the money I've paid you. This is our first and the last class. I can't continue. At that point, I knew that my life depends on this clipper. So, and me coming into Canada, I never thought of doing barbing in the big scale the way I did in Ukraine because I felt that it would be difficult to open a salon here. Where will I find the workforce? Everybody are career people here, and stuff. So I never thought about it, A couple of people told me maybe you could open a salon. I said, no, I'm not thinking about opening a salon again, because I know the stress. So suddenly, one day, one of my clients sent me an advert on WhatsApp telling me, when I saw it, I said, somebody wants to sell a salon. for $20,000 or something. I said no. I wasn't interested. So when I saw it about a salon, I closed it. I wasn't interested. Few days or a week or two after, a different person sent me exact same posts. At that point, I was now curious to know exactly what is this all about. Then I realized that somebody wants to sell a salon for $20,000 or something. And then with my curiosity, on Facebook Market, you just click, are you still interested? I click, and then they got back to me, okay, they gave me the address to come and see. Me, I didn't have money. So I only wanted to go and see the place. I didn't have intention of buying a salon or something.
Right.
So when I went there, I met this 65-year-old man that was about retiring. And when I met him, he told me, okay, he has been running the salon for 25 years. So he wants to retire. So he wants to sell off the business. I said, okay. And he now told me, based on the location, he said a good number of people has already indicated interest to buy the place, that there is a process. I said, okay. He now told me about the property owners. He took me to them, I went to them, and then I met with them. Those ones said, you are new in Canada, you don't have any credit history, you don't have any asset. Because of that, you're not qualified to bid for it. That was, I said, okay, I didn't even come to buy.
You're just window shopping.
Yes. So that was how when I got back home, something triggered me. Maybe I should just push a bit. So I called back the property owners. Those ones told me, we already told you. I said, maybe, unless you can find someone that can stand in for you. I said, okay. I don't know anybody in Canada, in Calgary, I'm still very new, that will want to stand in for me, take a business risk of standing in for someone they don't know. So, and then at a point I started talking to most of the people I knew then, if anybody will help me stand in, but nobody's ready to take that risk for anybody, especially they don't know me. But suddenly there was this guy that came to my house one day to cut his hair. Oh, that guy was an amazing guy. He's an amazing guy till tomorrow. It's like a brother. So he came to me, I told him about the whole thing. He told me, Eddie, don't worry, I'm going to stand in for you. He doesn't know me. This was the first time he came to my house. Chris, my friend, he owns a moving company too. Chris the Movers. So he told me, Eddie, I'm going to stand in for you.
Just like that.
Just like that. I said, what do you want? He said, he doesn't want anything. He just want to help me.
Yeah.
I said, are you serious? He said, yes. So I took him to the property owners. I introduced him to the property owners. They asked him for so many documents and he provided. So it was at that point he told me, I don't even know what you want to buy.
He didn't even know what you wanted to buy.
So that day,
so what made him stand in for you?
He just wanted to help me. Like, the guy is an amazing guy.
Wow.
He wanted to help me because nobody wanted to stand, nobody wanted to take that risk. Because if anything goes wrong,
of course it's them, their records. Records.
So, but he didn't care. So that was how I took him to the owner of the property, the business, and then was this day that the bargaining date, like the auction date, we went there, all of us, and then the other people too that wanted to buy the business too. But suddenly on that day, price already went up, and suddenly the man, his phone rang, he stepped outside, make a call, and then came back to tell me in front of everybody that I want to sell my business to this guy.
Just like that?
Just like that.
I don't understand.
Now, I didn't believe.
Yeah.
It was shocking. Everybody got so angry, so mad. Even my friend was like, maybe there's something wrong with this man. And then I didn't believe until the man put pen on paper that he will everything in this salon to me for $1.
No, Eddie, you are joking.
That was how.
Eddie, stop. Eddie, stop. Please, this is, no, I have to control what comes into here. You can't come here and drop a lie for us. I don't understand.
That was how I got my first salon. In Kiev.
Wait, no. What?
Yes.
Why did he do that?
I don't know.
You did not ask him.
Me, I was shocked just like you. That was how I got my first salon in Kiev,
In Calgary.
In Calgary. Now, there's a process to acquire it. Even after, if the man wills it to me, I still need to follow the process. Now, I needed a lawyer that would do the paperwork for me. And lawyers in Calgary, the least as at that time I could find was telling me, $3,500, $800 to do the paperwork for me. I didn't have the money.
You will be lawyer.
But I'm not practicing here.
But you can't practice.
So, and I didn't have the money. So there's this man that Francis introduced to me. He's a lawyer. Edo's one of the big lawyers here. Kudos to him. So he became my client. So I was barbering his hair one day. I told him about everything. And he now asked me which properties. I told him, say, I know these people. I've done some work with them before. He said, no, don't worry. That was how he took over, did all the paperwork till we closed the deal. He didn't take a dime from me.
Oh my God.
It doesn't take a dime from me. It was free of charge. And then in the process, before we closed the deal, something happened. And the property owners told me, Eddie, that I would need to make a deposit of $9,000. I didn't have it. I looked for the money. Okay, first, before then, they gave my guarantor, my guy, Chris, a contract that was crazy, very rigid contract, that he has to stand in for me for 5 years. So they will give me a contract for 5 years. So when Chris saw it, he said, okay, he's not against him standing in for me for 5 years, but he wanted a clause that if Eddie gets better in 1 or 2 years or 3 years,
Then
he can exit, that Eddie takes over.
Yes.
But the problem was the property owners were not ready to include that clause in that contract. So because of that, he refused to sign. Which I understood him.
Yes.
I understood
a long
him.
time to
Yes, a long time to
that.
hold him down.
Yeah.
You understand? He tried, you understand? So when he told me, Eddie, unfortunately I can't sign. So I had to start looking for the next person. Who? Nobody. So luckily for me, one morning, because my lawyer, I went back to my lawyer, I told him, the lawyer said he doesn't know. He spoke to the company and the property owners. Those ones said no. But one morning they sent me an email, said, okay, do you know what? We can give you a 2 years contract. So with 2 year contracts, it was okay for Chris to sign. That was how Chris went ahead to sign. They now gave me a condition that I need to pay $9,000 as down payments. I didn't have. So I went to bank said, oh, you are temporary stay in Canada, we can't give you loan, blah, 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 okay. And then, where will I find this money? It was remaining like a day or two for me to pay that money. I didn't have. One morning, the owner of the business called me one morning, said, I just want to find out from you how the process is going. I told him that they say I should pay $9,000, but I don't have the money. He said, how much do you have? Before I would tell him I don't have, the guy told me, did you know what? I'm going to give you $5,000. It was shocking. I'm going to give you $5,000. You gave me a business and you're giving me $5,000. He said, use it and pay them. He didn't tell me you're going to pay back, you're going to do this. Use it and pay them. I was shocked. At that point, at least, I'm now looking for 4,000. So at least the tone of my begging has changed.
I have this amount.
I'm looking for. So there's this client I had. He lives in Vancouver. The guy used to fly me to Vancouver to cut his hair. So I now reach out to the guy. Normally, I don't like disturbing my clients with my personal problems, I reach out to the guy. I said, Eddie, this is my problem. The guy said, did you know what? I'm going to call you back. The next thing, the guy sends me a message, Eddie, things are not too okay. Can you manage 3-5?
What is remaining?
In the space of like 3-4 hours, I was able to raise $8,500.
Wow.
That was how I was able to raise $500 on my own. Became $9,000. That was how we were able to close the deal for my first salon. That was how I got the place.
The one on McLeod, right?
The one on McLeod, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was how my first salon business started here.
Wow.
So from there, and then
from there, you said, don't come to my house again.
Do you know what happened?
Nobody should come to my house.
A few days after we closed the deal, the business owner called me, said, do you know what? Can you do me a favor? I said, what's that? He said, I have some workers that are working, 4 of them. Is it possible to return them? I said, me that I've been thinking, where will I find workers? Where will I find workers? I said, yes, I will return them. And I said, okay. And after a while, he called me again. Since this was May 2023, he said, since you've already gotten the place, I'm supposed to take over in November 2023. He said, maybe you can come and start working to start building so that by the time you're taking over, you already have a structure. That was how I started working there. Even when I was working there with the other workers, they didn't know I was the one to take over.
Take over. I'm about to take over.
So we concluded everything. I don't know why I didn't give it to other workers. I don't know what happened. But so I was working there with other guys, other barbers. And then at a point, the numbers increased. I realized that I can't do it alone. So I started training other guys to join me. So that was how I started training other workers to join me. And then in September, December, I did official opening of the business.
I remember then.
Yes. So when I did it, I had to change the name from the previous owner to the new name, Eddie Hair Planet. That was where the problem just started.
Seriously?
Yes.
Wait.
So all this while, running a business is not easy sometimes, man. A whole lot of things, challenges comes,
Easy.
So when the name did not change, even when I took over, the name did not change. The clients that were coming in, the white clients that were coming in were comfortable. Everything was fine until when the name changed. When the name changed, they now come in, oh, the name has changed. There's now a new owner. Who is the owner? They say this guy is the owner.
And he's a black guy.
And he's a black guy. So they will just greet, oh, congratulations, and then they start feeling uncomfortable. Because the white barbers that were there started telling me, oh, Eddie, that their clients are complaining, that the black people are too much here, and we're making noise, and that they are feeling uncomfortable, that they are losing clients, blah, 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 this and that. It was crazy. In 2024, I think it was in February 2024, one day I just came to work. All the white workers left.
Really?
Yes, they left.
See, 2024, just how many this thing?
Yes.
See this thing in plain sight.
I'm telling you, all of them left one day. All the 4 barbers left. When they left, so I was now left with the 2 black guys that were working with me.
Kind of rubbish
that was
racism
how,
is that?
That was how I had
plain
to.
sight.
But you see, I thank God too. Sometimes some things happen for a purpose. God had a plan. So they were just there to give me
the boost
to start. So when it was a due time, they left. Because you see, when they were working with me, I was almost on my toes to please them. Yes. We don't listen to music, we listen to radio. We try not to, very cautious and trying to see how to make them, to please them, to make things work out for them. I was always on my toes to please them.
Yeah.
But when they left,
you felt at home.
I felt at home. That was how we changed the whole structure. And then we could bring in female stylists, we could bring in other people. People started coming, the business started growing. And we had that freedom to do things. That was how the business too expanded. So,
Are you still in touch with the former owner?
oh yeah.
And how did he feel? And
Yeah, so when I told him the workers left, he said he knew. He said he wasn't shocked. He said, one thing he told me, I know you can do it. That was what he told me. So I know you can do it. So that was how I started the business. At the point, it was like we're taking over the whole of Calgary. Eddie Hair Planet now becomes a household name. You know, and all the clients that used to go to their house supported me too, because when I told them I can't be coming to your house again, I have a place, everybody started coming to the salon. You understand? And then so many people too started joining the planet and stuff, you know. At the point I realized that, it was now, I always have people coming from Hadri, from Northwest to South. It was actually a journey, you know. And now started thinking about, I think I need to put something in the Northwest. Yeah. So that was how the birth of Planet Northwest started.
I've never been to that one before.
Yeah. You need to visit there.
I have no reason to go all the way to the north.
Because we have something in the south. So that was how I started. I felt, okay, I need to put something in the Northwest because the numbers was increasing. So, and then suddenly we started the Northwest one last year, and it's been amazing.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so...
But you are now never in the south. That's the problem. You're never in the south.
I'm always everywhere.
You've left us.
No, because, I've been able to replicate people that do good jobs just like me. You understand? So, because my mindset was, I've done this for more than 16 years now. I have to start thinking about exit routes. Yeah. But I should be able to raise men and women that can do what I do, so that with or without me, the business can still move. And
you're creating employment.
Yeah,
in the city,
at least
right?
as of now, I have more than 20 to 20 something people working with me.
Wow.
Yes, if really not up to 30 people working with me at Eddie Hair Planet.
That's wild.
So a lot of people are benefiting from the business too.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So which God has been faithful, the numbers has increased, and then we are now looking at venturing into something. Actually, something is cooking.
Something is cooking.
Okay.
You heard it here first. Guys, so tell us, break the coconut.
Something is cooking. I'm going into...
Drum roll, please.
I'm going into something very different from haircuts,
Wow.
So Calgary, we are bringing something special to you guys. Something
Which is, are you going to tell us what it is?
No, I'm not going to tell you guys now. I will be telling you guys.
Wow, and me, I was already saying breaking news. I was already saying breaking news.
Yeah, but I can give you a tip. You see, I will be starting Best Planet Beverages. So something within that field of beverages is coming up to Calgary. It's going to be mind-blowing. So every one of you in Calgary be expecting something big from the planets. Yeah. It's going to be something that every household will need.
Really?
Yes. Every household will need for your events. For your event. Don't worry, I'm going to spill it very soon, So for your parties, for your events, for your galas, and even for your household, you would need what we will be bringing to Calgary. So just be expecting. And I believe God that very soon, in no long time, we will start it. You will hear about it.
Amen.
Yeah.
We will support you when it comes,
Thank
when
you.
It happens.
And
when it happens, all of you go and support. Make sure you support Eddie.
Yeah, because we're going to launch it. We're going to launch it in Calgary here. Probably you're looking at maybe in the next 1 or 2 months.
Really?
Yeah, we'll be starting something.
You have to call us to be your media
Definitely. I'm going to be working with you guys because we need you guys. The whole of Calgary, the whole of Canada needs to hear about it. So it's going to be something big.
Let's go.
Yes.
That's awesome. That's really good. Like, I love how resilient you are. And there's one thing about you that I really like. You can talk your way into any system. You're a marketer at heart. Like, you might be a lawyer by profession, a barber by trade, but you are a marketer at heart. Because you can talk your way into any room, any situation, any client's heart. And that is very good. Like, that's really, really good.
Thank you
and
so
I think
much.
that's how you sell yourself. And also there's an oil on your head, obviously.
Yeah, I would say you're right. God has been so faithful because sometimes you see when people say God doesn't exist, I say he's a lie. I've seen him. I'm a testimony because of the things that God has done for me. You know, using people to bless me. You understand? Sometimes it's always mind blowing that I will say people will say it's a lie.
Is he not here too? I was shouting it's not
Yes,
possible.
because God can do it.
Yeah.
I understand. And then back in Ukraine too, I was touching lives too. So I just feel coming to Canada, God is compensating me all the things I lost in Ukraine. Because sometimes even me, I sit back and I look at all the things that have happened to me. People think I've been in Canada for like 10 years.
I say, me that I just came, you met me here. You met me in this kind of, at least I've already stayed for like 2 years before you came.
I'm barely 2 years plus going to 3 years now.
You see?
I'm here. You know, people say, I mean, Eddie, I think you've been here for like 10 years, for like many years, you know, how popular you are. And I say, it's not me, it's been God, you know. So we are doing the God's work.
That's awesome. I really love that. And congratulations on everything.
Thank you so much.
There's one question I want to ask you, especially for people who come in and they want to start a business or they had something that they had before and they're not sure how to, because when people immigrate, it happens.
Yeah.
You have to start life from the beginning.
Yes.
Although yours was more difficult because it was just very abrupt. It was impromptu. It wasn't planned.
Yes.
It's like the carpet got ripped from underneath you, right?
Yes.
And it was a devastating situation, especially with you having 2 little children and your wife being pregnant at the time, and all the movement that had to occur with that. However, when people move, what is the best, like what would you say is the secret into penetrating any market? It doesn't have to be barbing.
Yeah,
any market at all.
Now, I always say something, see, I must have lost everything I got in Ukraine. Ukraine must have taken everything I ever built in Ukraine. But one thing Ukraine didn't take from me was experience. You see, the experience I had in Ukraine actually helped me and propelled me to achieve the things I've gotten. You understand? Or to see the opportunities that are available. There are so much opportunities here. Canada, Calgary, Alberta it's a place that has so much to offer. But you cannot see it because if you're not a business inclined person. You understand? You see, this is one of the best places to do business. Yes, I always say it. Because there are so many facilities that has been made available for business to strive to succeed here. Or to give you a good startup as a business person.
Like what?
But you see, if people ask me, say, I'm thinking of funding, I say, well, funding is one of the least things you should bother about in starting business in Canada.
Okay.
I was telling someone, I think one thing we need to do amongst African community is to create that enlightenment, awareness about starting business startup here. There's so much I've learned, I've discovered about this place that people need to know that you can do it. If only you can take a business risk. You see, one thing Canada did to us, I would say, that the people Canada brought from Africa, from Nigeria to Canada, we're not business-oriented people. They were professionals that had never done business before.
Right. 9 to 5.
They were 9 to 5 people. You were working in one parastatals, one agency, one bank, one government, this thing. They were running people's businesses. They were not the owners of the business. So they never took business risks. You're working in one bank, you were not the owner of the bank. You were just managing the bank. You were just doing what you needed to do. But the real person that took the business risk is the owner of the bank. That government agency you're working, the real people that took the business risk is the government. Those are the people that Canada brought here. That's why when we came here, we arrived here, the first thing we're looking for jobs. Because we were job seekers from Nigeria. So when you arrive here, you're looking for jobs. You're not even looking around to look what business opportunities are here because you never did business. So it's difficult for people like that to think or do business. That's why people tell me, I'm thinking of a business to do, or what kind of business? I said, don't worry, you're not a business person. Because even if I give you a business idea, this is what will happen. You wouldn't know how to start. And you keep pondering on, if I need to do this, I need to leave my job. If I leave my job, how will I pay for my mortgage? How will I feed my family? How will I pay for this? How will I do this? How will I do that? How will I? At the end of the day, you now say, let me stay with this urgent 2K while they collect. And at the end of the day, you can't do business. But when you think about so many things you need to let go, you need to do, you say, no, let me stay where I am, in this job I am. And the problem is the job market is crazy. You can be sacked at any time. What can you fall back on? So I think we need to develop and build that business. Yes, business wasn't for everybody. But there are still people that can learn and do business. You understand? So they just need to create that. We need to create that awareness for them to be acquainted to what is on ground for them for a startup.
So if I now get acquainted, what is the next step? What do I need?
The first thing I always say is, think about the idea. What do you know? What idea do you have that can generate money?
Okay, for instance, mine is my photography.
Then
what do I need to do? How can I blow? So that I'll open different studios.
First and foremost, as a photographer that you know your onions. I told someone, say, you cannot build a business on people. It must be something you know how to do it and you know how to do it well. Because if push comes to shove, it's going to be you that will stand to salvage it. I can't say, if I wasn't cutting hair, I can't run a barber shop. What if my workers will leave me one day?
Who will cut people?
The day my workers will say they don't come to work, I will be there to do it because I know how to do it. I build a platform that they are enjoying. So for you to go into and be a successful business person, you must know how to do that business first. So now, you have a photography idea, you understand? And you know how to make money out of it. And you want to make it a big thing. First, you go on, put on a business plan. Let's know what's the business plan. You understand? And then let's see what the...
Throughout your story, you did not tell me, I know your business plan in... You did not tell me that your barber, you did business plan for it too.
Because you see, I am the plan. I am the plan because a whole lot of things goes on in my head that I sit down and think about it and how to. I've already pictured it out. You understand? And then I know the things to do and the next step to do and what next to do. But for you that is trying to come into business, you have to go through a process of, okay, let's picture it out first. They put up the plan and what are the things we need? Because it's your field. You know what to do. You understand?
Right.
And then, do you want to start it in your house or somewhere? Do you need a location? You understand? What else do you need? Or maybe you know that, okay, I can start alone, or I can start with 2 or 5 cameras, or 2 cameras, or 1 camera. You understand? Okay, do you need a location? What type of location are you looking at? Let's do a feasibility studies where you can situate your business that can attract the potential audience you are looking for. You understand? In what area? You understand? Who are your targeted audience, your potential clientels? You understand? Because those are the people that you have to build your business close to that area. You understand? And then once you know that, okay, how much are we looking? Okay, maybe you need to look for a lease. Where can you rent? How much are you looking at? All these things need to be in your business plan. So that even if when you go to bank to look for money, or maybe any other, there are so many of them here that can give you money to start a business, they will still ask you, what is your business plan? Let us see your business plan. Let us see your forecasts, business projection, at least 5 years projection of where you know that what your business can generate in the next 5 years, because nobody want to invest in anything that won't go far.
Yeah, absolutely.
You understand?
Makes sense, yeah.
So there are so much things that we need to know, we need to learn. You understand? And then see, when you start doing your research about your business, and if your business can strive here, then how will you be able to take your business to your potential audience or potential clienteles? Because you need to put it in their face to see that what you're doing.
So how do you do that?
That, like me, how it helped me, just like I told you from the beginning, business card has always been one thing that helped me. If you see me marketing my business, sometimes I will drive and see people stop. I stop on the road and stop people, see, this is what I do. I do a haircut. My business card is always with me. I will go to Walmart, I will go to event, go to everywhere. That's why you see me everywhere. In every event, you see me, I talk about my business. You understand? Every event I am there. You understand? Because people need to know that Eddie Hair Planet exists. So you have to have a marketing strategy. You have to be a very vocal person for you to do business. Yes.
So I can't be an introvert.
No, because your business will not speak for himself. It is you that will speak for people to come and patronize, and then the people now will carry up the message.
Value. Yeah.
So
I said you were telling somebody something.
I had a meeting with a man that one of the top Nigerian person that just came into Canada, and then they told him about me. We had a meeting at the Calgary Towers. We're talking about business, and then we're talking about what we need to do, because we have to. You see, I was telling the man, saying, we black people, we are not, especially Nigerian, we are not a pressure group in Canada. We don't have a voice here.
Yeah.
Because can we influence any decisions, government decision in Canada? It's difficult because we are not providers. We are not providers. No.
You mean service providers?
We are not service providers.
Yeah. Right.
We are service consumers. You understand? That's why the Indians and the Chinese and the rest of them, they can stage a protest and the government will listen to them.
Right.
Because that company you are working is being owned by an Indian. It's being owned by Chinese and the rest of them.
So they have higher stakes.
See, they have higher stake in the system.
Yeah.
The system will listen to them first before me.
Right. Yeah.
Because one, they brought us to come and work for them. How many of us, how many Africans own businesses and franchises here compared to them?
Yeah.
So, but we need to start taking positions. But we need to come together. We need to work together. The problem we have is it's difficult for us to work together.
We compete.
We compete amongst ourselves. Instead of competing outside, we compete within.
Within ourselves.
You understand? And we don't even trust ourselves. That's another problem.
Yeah.
So
Big problem.
I feel that we need to create a forum that we could talk business. We can talk business. There are some people that want to do business, but they don't know where to start from. You understand? There are basic ideas they need. So we need to create a forum that people can come and listen to, or maybe gain the knowledge that they need to do something. You understand? So, but we just need to think outside the box.
Yeah, we do. What as a business person should I never do if I want to be a success?
Never go into business that you have no idea about.
Okay, what if I'm an experienced person?
As an experienced person?
Or not experienced, but like I know about it, but I don't have the absolute experience to do it, but I know about it.
The first thing you need to do is to gain that experience.
Right.
You need to know everything about it. See, let me tell you, the business I'm about starting, You understand? I had just a little idea about it. Maybe not in Canada. But when I came in here, I did a whole lot of research about it. I never knew I would be starting it anytime soon. But I did research about it. I went to places, I met people, I spoke to them, gained more knowledge, understood the inside of the business here, how it works.
And then you felt like there was a loophole that
and then I felt that it was, but I knew that if I need to start it, it's going to take me a period of time. It's going to take me long to start it. You understand? And I don't have the capability to do it now. That was why I had to shield back.
Okay.
But I knew certain basic informations, and what I can do to help me start it. I knew it.
So
you understand?
What is the loophole you saw now that made you feel
now,
like it's the
opportunity
right time?
came. But because I was on the outlook for it.
Okay.
You understand?
Yeah.
Because of my research, because of going around doing findings, people don't want to read. People don't want to invest time in checking that thing that they feel they can make something out of it.
Do your research.
You have to do your research. So I did my research. In the course of me doing research, I could talk to many people. I could now see the opportunities available. And I could now do my 1+1.
Right.
Then recently, somebody I spoke about that particular business idea with some months ago now got back to me, Eddie, that thing we spoke about, are you still interested? I say, yes. Oh. He said, wow, okay. Just take over it. So I'm taking over a prepared business. You understand? I never knew, like 3 weeks ago, I never knew that I would be starting that business. You understand?
Yeah.
So because I did research, I'm in the process of doing research, I met people, I spoke to them about it, and then they now got back to me. And I said, okay, I think you are the best fit for this. Just take it and then run with it.
Yeah.
So it means that the first thing you need to do, you need to
Prepare
yourself. Preparation meets opportunity.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a go for it.
That's wonderful. I don't know, for some reasons, my mind just went to something. I'm like, how is your sister? The sister who sent you to Ukraine?
Oh, my sister that went to, yeah. He asked me.
Where is she and how is she?
She's fine. She's still in Nigeria. But you see, when I started making something in Ukraine, because at the point in Ukraine, after opening a salon and build businesses, I opened a tourist company that could bring people to Ukraine, students and stuff. So she was the one now managing the company back in Nigeria.
Right.
Yeah, so from there, she was able to stand. She could do something. So she was well established through that business. You know, so because for years, it was really a problem for her. It took her time to pick up.
Yeah.
So, but as God did it, as I was able to put my feet on the ground in Ukraine, I was able to take something back home and that she benefited from.
That's the thing about we Nigerians. You work for yourself, you work for family back home and everything. That's awesome. I don't know why I just thought about her. Like, how is she doing now?
She's amazing.
Yeah,
she's amazing.
That's awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
There's this question. We're wrapping up now, but we always ask every guest this question whenever they come. And the question is, and I know your circumstances are different because you didn't plan on like it was going to be like this. But what is one thing you wish you knew before buying that one-way ticket?
Okay. One thing I wish I knew before coming to Canada, I probably would have prepared my mind, it's not a bed of roses. I told someone that, there's a Canada that people outside Canada knows. And there's a Canada that people in Canada knows. So, but the reality is, the people outside Canada would not accept the Canada that people in Canada knows. You understand? Because by the time you tell them, okay, this is the true thing that's happening here, they would start telling you, okay, they would not believe you in the first place. Say, if it's about, why don't you come back home?
Exactly.
You understand?
Yeah.
So just know that it's not a bed of roses. So that when you get here, you won't be disappointed.
Right.
Yes, I didn't plan coming to Canada. You understand? people, you see, the lucky thing that most people that comes to Canada benefits is you plan. You went through a process to come to Canada. You went through school, you went to write IELTS, you went to do interview, you went through a certain process to qualify, you did your permutations and everything to make sure you qualify and came to Canada. So that process you tends to learn much before coming. Unlike me, it was different. I just woke up one day, I realized I'm in Canada. You understand? Without knowing much about this place. You understand? But the mindset is, Canada is a land flowing with milk and honey. It's a bed of roses there. Once I enter Canada, I will be fine.
I'm telling you.
But yes, it's true, you'll be fine. But there's a work you need to put in.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
So you have to prepare your mind to do something. I will always say, before you come to Canada, make sure you learn a skill. Learn or know how to do something with your hands.
Right.
It can be that breakthrough you need, or that might pave way for you or to sustain you here in Canada. You understand?
Yeah.
Because looking at it already, the job market, like I said, it's crazy now. So you have to think about being an employer of labor. You understand? From knowing how to shoot your photography or shoot that shots, you know, you can build a business. You understand? You can have a studio, and then you can employ people too. You understand? You can become the top photography company in Calgary that can man every event. You can be that mechanic that we need, that we don't have, through what you knew or what you learned back home or something, you know. So whatever you know how to do with your hands, you know, it is what pays here in Canada. Do you know how much plumbers are charging? The electricians, it's money.
Per hour.
Per hour, they will charge you much. So that skills you learn, you know how to do, can pave way for you here.
Just like the way barbing.
Yeah, if I didn't know how to cut hair, I don't know what would have been my life in Canada.
You have still been learning Scrum Master.
I would have been still be scrumming, you understand, you know? And probably I'd be working in one warehouse or the other because I knew law would have been still very far from me.
Yeah.
You understand? So I thank God for the skill that I had before coming to Canada.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. This has been
Thank
such a
you.
good conversation.
I appreciate
I don't want
having
it to end, but like it's been so good learning your story and where it started, like how
Yeah.
I actually thought you had law first before achieving
No.
the barbing, but
No.
apparently it was the barbing that gave
That
birth
is back to the law.
you know. So yeah. Thank you for sharing your story
you for
with
having
us.
me.
This has been an amazing conversation.
Thank you.
I
Appreciate
know
it.
the weather outside is treacherous, but
No,
you
it's
still
okay.
made it work. Thank you. And I know how busy Calgary and Canada can be, but thank you for sparing some time to come film this episode with us.
Appreciate.
Guys, Eddie, do you want to advertise your business? Where can we find you?
Yeah, I hope my story inspired somebody out there to just to let you know that idea that you have, you can think outside the box and make it big. You can achieve. You can be the next big thing in Calgary and in Canada. So for my businesses, I make people look good. I make people look good. So we have two locations. One at Chinook, and one in Northwest, Eddie Hair Planet. If you Google it, you'll find it, Eddie Hair Planet. And just like
How do
I
you
said,
spell the Eddie?
the Eddie is EDY. EDY Hair Planet. So you will find us, and I have amazing guys, amazing guys that are working with me. They are professionals. They are very good guys. So hit them up, and then they will give you the best.
Nice.
And just like we said earlier, something big is coming in Calgary. Be prepared. Best Planet Beverages is coming. Nice.
There we go.
There you go.
He told me about it before we pushed record, so I don't feel bad. He just didn't want to tell you guys.
No, I'm not going to tell you guys yet.
Okay. Thank you so much. I really appreciate this conversation. You have heard Eddie's story, so if you've ever wondered, how did this guy, a lawyer with PhD, start to do barbershop? You heard it here first.
Yes. Funny enough, this is the very first podcast I've done. I've told my full story.
Yeah?
Yeah. Yeah.
I told you. It's only on the diary. You get the full tea.
The full story. Yeah.
So, yeah. So why haven't you liked? Why haven't you subscribed? If you watch to this point,
you need to subscribe.
You need to subscribe. Fear God. If you're happy with the story and you feel satisfied, there's more where this one came from. So hit the subscribe button, like, follow, comment. Just tell us, whose story would you like to hear next on the diary?
Yes.
I will bring them over. So thank you guys so much. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening.
Thank you guys.
And have a good one. Bye.
The Diary of a Niger Immigrant was proudly brought to you through Onyi's Lens. If you like this episode, then you should check out our other episodes. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment on whose journey you would like to hear about next on The Diary of a Niger Immigrant. And until next time, I remain Onyi Ekenelbi. Bye now, friends.